CGSM is one of the best kept secrets in the industry. We've been obviously doing the circuit right now, and you've had Grocery Shop, you've had Shop Talk Fall, but I think CGSM is a community of actually focused consumer goods experts and executives that get together and they're actually solving a problem. So for us, coming to CGSM is important because not only do you connect with leaders and execs within the consumer goods space, then you also hear from top experts and thought leaders who are actually solving those problems.
You know, the value that CGSM brings to the organization has been wonderful. As we have participated in the event, we often think about it as just being a wonderful one for the impact that it has in terms of being able to connect with so many leaders in the sales and marketing area around tech, but also a very intimate opportunity to have really high value conversations. At Google Cloud, we're very focused on how we can be a catalyst to help our customers transform by really bringing accretive business value. And conversations like this are invaluable for understanding and keeping our pulse on where the industry is headed and how our key leading capabilities in data and AI can help drive that transformation.
Value that events like CGSM bring to our organization. I think for us, it's primarily a chance to interact with the brands and retailers and technology providers in a space that we don't typically get. For us, it's a good way to kind of have our ear to the street, keep a pulse on the market, but really compare notes, get kind of a feedback loop, and then take that back and make sure that we're delivering the most value to the brands to, make sure that we're maximizing everything they're doing in stores rather than just assuming we have the answer.
The value of CGSM to me is to be able to get out of the office, come and meet with people from across the industry and learn from thought leaders. The keynote speaker, day one, Alan, did an incredible job really outlining a very comprehensive way of going to market and using the data of today to drive his business forward.
Events like CGSM are really valuable for the Storesight team in the industry. What we get out of it is primarily making professional connections with our customers and other tech companies in the industry who are really driving progress and innovation.
Like in a generic context perspective, CGSM actually gives a lot of insights on trends, what is best practices happening and thought leadership. But in this year's session, I'm focused more on what companies are doing on the agentic AI side, right? What are the use cases they are solving? What are the problems the companies are facing, and how TechM's Orion platform can help companies scale the agentic AI initiative. I think from that perspective, it has been a good event for us.
I was directly in touch with industry leaders that speak about how emerging technology trends are driving true business value for their organization, something that you don't get using traditional research methods. The face-to-face meetings that we have help us also get some validation about the market hypothesis that we have done that helps us better evolve our product capabilities that we bring to the consumer packaged goods industry.
AI and agentic, these are just tools. And at the end of the day, it's not about this elevator pitch or that elevator pitch. It's about what problem you're trying to solve. Sometimes you're trying to overthink a problem, and you might not need AI. You might not need an agentic solution. So what we like to do is work backwards from the problem. And lots of times it's very simple. And I think that's what happens. Like, people miss it. But we're happy at focusing on whatever solution we need.
It's interesting. We work across a number of different customers, and when I think about the area of AI use cases and how they can help to create value, I actually would go broader. I mean, for most of our customers, the question is really not what is their AI strategy, as we know. It really is what is their strategy for the business And how can AI help to create value in that context? And what we see over and over again is that it's no longer use case based. Most companies are trying to transform domain areas or capabilities in an organization. One of my favorites is some of the transformation that's taking place in the areas of R&D innovation. And why is that the case? It's such a driver for value and growth in the company. And when you think about the capabilities in agentic AI, to be able to integrate the latest in trends and insights, whether they're external to the organization or internal to the organization, sitting in any form, or as we say, multimodally, be able to turn these into concepts and these concepts into big ideas that we can talk to synthetic consumers about, as much as the leader of that operation would want or not. This is really transformative in creating value in the industry. Companies that we've worked with have created opportunities that are adding significant value to the business and at the same time saving over 60 to 70% in time. So I love these capability transformations that are taking place across the CPG value chain. And it was definitely the topic of a lot of our discussions here at CGSM.
There are a few primary use cases for AI, and all of them excite me. One is being able to, in real time, understand things like share of shelf using image recognition. Another is going to be automated note taking. So when I'm on a call with our customers, I get to be fully attentive in that conversation and don't have to worry about scratching the notes, and have an AI companion to recap and rehash that conversation afterwards. The last thing I utilize AI for is actually creating internal applications to solve some internal problems. So we'll use a vibe-coded application builder, and even though I don't know how to code, can actually create applications using AI to solve internal challenges and problems.
So the favorite agentic AI use case we have is basically, how do you really use agentic AI for marketing? So when GenAI got launched, a lot of focus was there on the content generation. But now with agentic AI, you can do creative generation with guards in place, a human in loop, and generate creatives and campaign in few days. And that is going to change the GTM strategy of the company. So you can have faster GTM, you can have better creatives, you can be more innovative. So to summarize, the elevator pitch is basically faster GTM, more creative.
I think the best AI use case in this industry is predicting consumer behaviors, which is sort of the holy grail. It's something that requires a lot of data to come together from across channels, be it social media data or market scans data or inventory data. All of these data needs to come together within a very short period of time. And modeling for this is highly transformative. And as Consumer IQ, the platform that we have built, we have actually taken what I call the donkey's work, the iceberg under the water, that lets customers bring in a lot of data, whether it's public data or private data, and easily ingest that into the platform. And then we provide an AI inference layer on top, which supercharges that and informs sales and marketing or business functions to drive value.
So the three things that I look for as an operator or investor, and I think Warren Buffett says I'm a better investor because I'm an operator, I'm a better operator because I'm an investor, and are you increasing share? Are you increasing revenue? Are you reducing costs? And at Clootrack, somehow we are unlocking all three of those. So, immediately you need to help and reduce costs, reduce stress on your associates and your employees. Next, you need to gain share and revenue. And at Clootrack, we do that through our voice of customer, through our sentiment analysis tools, and through our agentic offering.
When we think about the top three KPIs, we have talked often in the industry about the ROI of AI as being an enabler in terms of the understanding of the value of these business transformations. And in our recently published ROI of AI, we certainly bring focus to the value that can be created. That being said, as we think about transformation journeys that many of our customers are on, we're seeing over and over again that having some of the interim ways of measuring that value, whether it's by the amount of time saved by the enterprise or how we can save time for an individual or an employee that can then take that time and redirect it into more valuable pieces of work. All of these are interim measures that we're using to see that value. Again, as we look across many customers, they're not only thinking about ROI as being that way to measure, but with AI, they're looking at new ways to be able to measure and really create value around the transformation.
For us at Storesight, the top 3 KPIs that we use to help our clients be successful is the product on the shelf, OSA. The second is, what is your share of the shelf? And thirdly, how's the execution going? Your compliance measures and understanding whether a shelf is set correctly or a display is up according to plan.
There are really 3 main KPIs that we track at Storesight that help measure success for our customers. The first is on-shelf availability. Are your products available to purchase? The second is, what is your share of shelf? And how are you competing against competitors in the category? The last is shelf execution. Is your products, your displays there and able to be purchased, and incentivizing shoppers and consumers to select and purchase your product?
Sure. I think if you're talking about the top 3 KPIs, the first one comes to my mind is basically the customer engagement and connect. And how do you really leverage the digital side of it? How do you leverage the AI side of it? I was looking at one of the session yesterday where the customer app has been created to help the customers understand the recommendation better, the products better. I think this is where we are heading. And this is, I think, where everybody needs to focus. Because if you connect with the customer better, and if you have great consumer insight, you can actually do revenue upliftment much better.
The relevant KPIs in this digital world is number 1, CLV, the customer lifetime value progression. I think Sarkana yesterday quoted this as well. And this will really, it's about whether the experiences are creating long-term relationships with the brand, or is it just one-time transaction? So that's number 1. Number 2 is, for scalability, it's important to have consistent omni-channel experience. So calculating or understanding cross-channel engagement consistency will be key. And number 3, which was quoted by Shyam earlier, was velocity in terms of time to insight. So is it, are the experiences that we are collecting from the customers and the insights that we are gaining from the customers, is that how quickly are you able to put that into improvements to bring customer value? So that's the most 3 KPIs that would be important for in the digital world.
It's obviously been repeated over and over again about having not only data and insights, but then having actionable what next steps to take based off that data. And I think here at CGSM, we've talked a lot about, insights without actions is just trivia. And I think what we do at Clootrack is provide you with the next best step to unlock additional revenue share and reduce costs.
With transformation that's taking place within the consumer, I think we've never seen a time, going back to my years in the industry, where we've seen more fragmentation. It's exciting to see this growth in Gen Z and Gen Alpha, but what it points to is the differing needs of those consumers, and in particular, the dramatic need for the increases in the level of hyper-personalization and the capabilities that we are offering around that. So I think that where we're seeing this digitally native generation grow, that we are really needing to understand better what consumers need and to be able to meet their needs and communicate with them, help them to shop in a more personalized way. And our capabilities in AI are really helping to drive that transformation. I think most companies would say today that this is one of the top areas where being able to understand where audiences are and be able to reach them with content that's generated at scale in the right way along that consumer journey is now become possible.
A lot of what we've learned here, I'm hearing brands say is, they're truly trying to find the piece of the business that has a gap or the business problem, rather than just, try AI out for the sake of trying AI out. I think that some of the most impactful presentations I've seen have been those who have said, we identified a problem first, then we looked for very specific tools, whether that was AI or not AI, to solve that problem, rather than just adapting the tool to, adopt the tool.
At CGSM, this event, there's been a ton of great findings. My personal favorite is a little non-intuitive. One of the panelists was actually talking about ways that they evaluate success of implementing AI. And what they said was they evaluate success by measuring the excitement that a tool brings and generates within their team. So there's a lot of bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, if a new AI tool can't generate the buzz and the excitement internally, it's not going to get the adoption it needs to be implemented by the broader organization.
I think the main thing which I've seen in this event is the sharp focus on data readiness for AI. And it sounds very trivial, but it's very challenging. You have to get a stakeholder buy-in. You need to have your application ready. You may need to change your design. You need really the data availability for AI is what I think is the biggest takeaway from this event. I think if you extend to that, the next stage is how you leverage that data for AI use cases, for agentic AI rollout within the organization. And today what I learned was that how do you really get the blessing of all the stakeholders to really give momentum to agentic AI use cases.
There's a couple of different pieces of advice that I heard, but the one thing that is top of mind for me is use AI to truly address a business problem. It's sort of become a little bit of a rat race. Everybody jumping into AI and using different AI tools without taking the moment to pause and understand whether it's actually driving business value and addressing a business problem within the organization. I believe Josh from Kimberly-Clark quoted Simon Sinek yesterday from Infinite Game that AI is not about winning or losing. It's typically a sport where you talk about win or losses, but AI is all about how do you do things better than how you did before. So that piece of advice stuck with me.
Yeah, that's the customer everyone's chasing. And obviously today, they don't have the purchasing power of some of the other millennials and baby boomers, et cetera, or Generation X's. But that is the consumer that is going to dictate share tomorrow. And to meet their needs, I think you need to be authentic. If you're a brand, you have to connect with them because they're very purposeful. So it's not about price. It's not about product. I think many times it's about your purpose and your mission. And I think that's what the alpha generation is looking for.
I think it's got to be the breaking down of barriers, meaning Gen Alpha doesn't see in-store versus online. Marketers are going to have to be faster. Personalization is key. The idea of kind of having a single kind of linear funnel or a linear flow, purchase flow, that doesn't work anymore. The idea of finding somebody at the best point of contact, to influence their decision, I think now has to be done with, highly personalized interactions, really trying to identify where the best avenue is to capitalize on, whatever the brand message is. But it really comes down to they don't see the silos and the channels that I think we're used to operating in.
I love Generation Alpha, and because they're coming back to the store and but they're coming back in the store with their phones. So it's an omni-channel experience that they're looking for. They're going to be in store as well as online with their smartphones. And so we believe that the tools that are built today need to be built for that generation.
Yeah, it's a great question. Generation Alpha, I think there's going to be a handful of different types of shopping experiences and priorities for this generation and how we reach them. One, I think this generation is going to be leaning and relying more on authenticity. And so the younger generation doesn't want, all of the celebrity endorsements, but instead wants that real personal connection that, meets them where they are. The other thing is, I think that the younger generations are actually going to be a outcomes-based shopper. And so instead of walking down an aisle and just selecting, the snack that looks the tastiest, this generation will say, I want to be, a healthier person. And so I'm going to evaluate my selections to help select the foods and the items that are going to help me achieve the outcomes that I want in life.
Yeah, Gen Alpha is going to be a challenge because they are living in the phone, right? So the first challenge is to take them out of the phone, out of Snapchat, out of Instagram. The second challenge would be for all the brand owners or CPG companies would be actually to get their attention. And attention in a very short span. So the creative campaign you're doing has to be really short to gain their attention. This consumer is actually value conscious. They are savvy in terms of sustainability. They're drinking less, which is a challenge. But I think if you really have to target this audience, you have to prepare by your presence 360 degree to get their attention and actually, make them take the action which is favorable for the brand.
That's a great question about Generation Alpha, which is a digital native customer compared to the previous generation. This customer is all about digital, as we know, and giving them consistent experiences across physical as well as digital channels is going to be key. This generation is also responding well to companies who are environmentally responsible, genuinely socially responsible, and engaging with them in a way which feels genuine. Utilizing AI to have hyper-personalization with this customer is key, but then also providing human connectivity is going to be key to engage with this customer. So I think overall, blurring the lines between entertainment and commerce with this customer is going to be key for this alpha generation.